Hello, how are we? Are we okay? Just checking that you can hear and that you can see me. So I can see I've got 2 people on already. So welcome this evening. It's not quite time to start yet. We've got about another 30 seconds or a minute. So we won't worry about starting just yet. Tonight you might want to grab yourself a block if you've got it, or a rolled up towel. Anything that you might find that you can pop under your knee, or a cushion, or under your lower back. It's not essential, so if you don't have it, don't worry. But if you do, it might be useful for you to use this evening. So it's 22, so welcome everybody to Achieve Lifestyle this evening. My name's Lesley. If you're joining us straight from the back of Gail's class, you're going to get a nice stretch afterwards. If you're just joining me for Stretch and Relax this evening, welcome. I'm going to take you through some very slow postures, some slow stretches to increase, to sort of increase your flexibility, just to get you to feel stretched out and to relax you. And we'll do a small amount of meditation at the end. Okay, so I'd like you to begin the class this evening by standing. I'm just going to get some music on. So this evening, we're going to begin the class in a standing position. Just find a comfortable position, feet roughly hip distance apart. And keep your shoulders away from your ears. We're not going to do anything radical or painful this evening. Anything that we do, if it hurts you, stop. If it's uncomfortable, stop. Or just don't develop the stretch quite as fully as I'm giving you the option to. So take the shoulders away from the ears and soften your knees. And place one hand on your rib cage and the other hand on your lower back. We're going to practice our breathing through our nose, which is something we're going to use throughout the whole class. So I want you to inhale, hold, exhale, hold. We're going to do that a few times. Feel your rib cage rise and fall as you inhale and hold. Exhale, hold. Inhale, hold. Exhale, hold. Inhale, hold. Exhale and hold. Okay, take your hands down by your sides. We're going to start with some waist mobility and stretching just to begin this evening, then we're going to work the legs and the hamstrings. So hands go on your hips. Try taking your shoulders right back to begin, and take the tongue into the roof of the mouth. Inhale through the nose, really fill up the lungs. Then exhale and come back to centre. Inhale, fill up the lungs, take the elbows back. And then come back to centre. Do this a couple more times. Inhale. And back. Inhale. And back. Okay, we're going to take our feet together now. We're going to practice some half squats. We're going to begin by warming up the thighs so we can get ready for some deeper stretches in a little bit. So we're not going to use our arms. We're going to inhale and we're going to come down to a half squat position. So we're not going all the way. We're just going to have bottom partly back. We're going to have our chest up. Now any lower back pain, come up further. And come up. So this time, we're going to try and keep our arms straight. So inhale and drop down. Try and get the hands hands to touch the knees. You don't want to bend your elbows, keep your elbows straight, keep your head up. And come back up to standing. One last time. Inhale, hold. And come back up to standing. So we're beginning to feel a little bit of warmth in our lower back. Take our feet hip distance apart, hands go on your waist, elbows go directly out to the sides. And we're going to take a tip to one side. We're going to try and keep the head in line with the neck. Come back to centre. We're going to repeat the other side. Now you've got the option, as we go, to extend the arm down by the side and over the head. We don't want our arm bent, we want our arm straight. And just hold here. Breathe through it, make sure that this shoulder is back and your chest is up. And then come back to centre. Extend over. Feel a really nice stretch all the way down your side. And come back to centre. Fabulous. Okay, soften out your knees and make sure your toes are facing forwards. Bring them in just slightly, check that you're hip distance apart. We're going to let our arms and we're going to let our shoulders and our head relax. We're going to come down into a roll down position and we're going to let our arms hang like a raggy doll. So if you look, my head isn't up, I'm rolled down. And gently come up. So we've got an option now, you can continue with that, or you can cross your arms and hold on to your elbows, and you're going to roll down, and just let your arms and elbows gently swing side to side. Release the lower back, release the shoulders. And then if you can, pop your fingertips down onto the floor. Or if you're comfortable, whole of the hands. And gently come back up to standing. Nice work. Okay, if ever you feel any dizziness when your head's down, bring your head back up. Take your feet wide, and we're going to take both our toes out in opposite directions now. I've pulled my pelvic floor through, and I'm going to inhale, and I'm going to drop down into a plie squat position. So my shoulders are down, my arms are out, and I'm pulling my pelvic floor through. And I'm going to come back up to standing. Drop back down. And come back up to standing. So this toe is now going to face forwards. This toe stays pointed out, okay? So your knees aren't bent, but they're equally not locked out. Your chest is lifted, shoulders are down, and you're going to take your arms directly out to your sides. Sorry, my legs are quite far enough apart. And without moving them, you're going to drop to one side and hold. Now this top arm stays back. If you don't feel comfortable with that, you can have your elbow up here and your hand on your lower back. And come back up to centre. We're going to do that again. Come back to centre. This toe comes forwards, this toe comes out, realign, shoulders down. One more time. Back to centre, and toes come forwards. This time we're going to let our head roll forwards, and if you feel comfortable, hands down to the floor. Feel a nice stretch all along the back of the hamstrings, the calves, the glutes, and just breathe. Come back up to standing and bring your feet back into centre. Okay, just release it off, rotate your shoulders forwards and back, and we're going to begin with some leg stretches and leg work. Okay, we're going to turn to face one direction, shoulders are going to be away from your ears, and we're going to take one foot in front and one foot behind you into a lunge position. Now if you look, my back heel is off the floor. It's not on the floor, it's off the floor. Now if we were doing yoga, this would be part of a flow where you jump in or step into a flow, but we're not aiming to do that, we're just looking to stretch this evening. So I'm going to come down into a lunge, and that knee's going to be bent, and that toe is going to be visible. My chest stays up. Now, however hard I want to work, I will take my knee lower. So that's easier, that's harder, holding position. Choose your option. Fantastic. And then come back up and release the stretch off. We're going to do that again. We're going to drop down, and this time we're going to take our arms out in front of us, and then we're going to take them down to the side of the knee. Come back up and step in. That's harder than it looks, isn't it? I'm changing sides. So, take the other leg behind you. Drop down, check you can see that front toe. Drop the back knee, back heel is lifted. And just hold in lunge. Come up, come into standing. One more time. Come down. Hands go on the outside of the knee. Okay, we're going to take our feet with our heels just a tiny bit apart and toes facing outwards. We're going to do some hip openers, work our lower back and our mid back. If you've got knee issues, don't come all the way down, okay? So we're going to come down into a crouch. Now if you're comfortable with this, your hands can go on the floor and you can push back with your knee, with your elbows onto your knees, so you're opening up your hips. Now what I want you to do is I want you to push back on your knees and relax your bottom. That's going to sound really bizarre, but relax your bottom and then clench your pelvic floor. Lift your chest and hold. And release it off. Come down to kneeling position. Okay, we're not going to stand up again now. All the work's going to be done on the floor. This is where you might decide that you want to use your mat or your cushion or a rolled up towel or a yoga block if you've got one for underneath your knee. So I'm going to come to the end of my mat and I'm going to pop the block under one of my knees, okay? We're going to work the upper body. You're going to think we've already done lunges, but it's not quite the same thing. So the knee stays on that block. My other foot comes all the way forward, so this is further forwards than the last lunge that we did. Just watch the first one before you'll get yourself into position. So take your toe quite far forwards. Make sure your feet and your knee are hip distance apart. Then come forwards into lunge. Hands stay on the floor. Head stays in line with the neck. Brace your core and hold. This is your option 1. Option 2 is to lift up the back leg and take the knee off the floor. So at any time you need to, drop that back knee down. Make sure that this knee is not pointing outwards, it stays facing forwards. And then come back up to kneeling, take the hands back. As you do so, lift the front toe and straighten that leg. Chest comes up, head comes up. Feel the stretch all the way down the back of the hamstring, down the back of the leg. Only come as far as you need to, it might be less so. And release it off. Okay, change legs. So, knees hip distance apart. We parallel that when we take the knee forwards. You're going to take the knee right forwards, foot in front of the knee, well and truly in front of the knee. Check knee placement, that they're hip distance apart. Hands go straight down onto the floor and you come into your lunge position. So your head is in line with your neck, your back is straight. You either leave that back knee down or if you want to, bring the back knee up. Today I'm staying down, totally okay. You're going to find that some days it feels easier, some days it feels harder. Depends on what you've been doing. I'm getting prepared, ready to be coming out of lockdown and for the gyms to open in, so I've been doing some body pump and everything hurts. Remember, we're working with our body, not against it. Do whatever feels good for you today. Sink the bottom back, toes come to the ceiling, leg is straight. Don't knock out that knee joint and hold. If you run, if you do high impact things, you're going to be tight in your hamstring, you're going to be tight in your calf. And release it off. Take away the block. Hands go under your shoulders. Toes touch and come back to child's pose. hold here. Then come back into tabletop position. So check your hands are underneath your shoulders and your knees are underneath your hips. Head is in line with the neck. We're going to inhale and arch our spine right up. Inhale, drop down, head up. This should feel really nice. Cat and cow pose. Drop down. Come back up. And from here, I want your toes to touch and keeping your hands where they are. Come back, and if you can get your bottom back a little bit further, that's great. Back up into your hands and knees, into tabletop. And this time I want you to take your hands a little bit further away so you've got a bit of a stretch in your shoulders. So keeping the hands where they are, we're going to touch toes again, and this time we're going to sink back into child's pose with a great stretch in our shoulders and our back. Fantastic. Come back up into tabletop. Just a few centimetres forward with your hands again. Toes touch, and this is the last time we're going to do this stretch. Come back as far as you feel comfortable into child's pose. Now, if you can't get back, pop the mat or pop the block underneath your bottom. It's totally up to you. Gently roll over onto your back. Find a position that's comfortable for you. And take your feet onto the floor. We're not going to use the block again now, except for maybe at the end. We're going to take our feet hip distance, hands down by our sides, and we're going to inhale and lift our pelvis up off the floor. Watch your knees don't come in together, they should remain hip distance, and hold. Down. One more time. And release it off. Fabulous. Okay, we're going to cross our feet over. And we're going to take our arms above our heads. So one foot goes over the other foot, cross at the ankle. Take our arms above our heads, and we're going to stretch out as far as we possibly can. release it off and take your hands down by your side. Stay laying down. And you might want to soften your gaze or close your eyes. As we enter the last few minutes of the class, we're going to do some guided relaxation. So you might want to pop the block under your head or under your lower back, whatever feels comfortable. And just know that for the next 5 minutes, nobody's going to disturb you, and it gives you an opportunity to reconnect with your body. Be aware of your surroundings. It might be noisy, it might be quiet. You might be able to hear traffic, children. Acknowledge these and accept them. Refocus on your breathing. And just allow yourself the space to be. Tonight we've stretched, we've given our muscles the opportunity to be a little bit more flexible. We've allowed ourselves time to be grounded with the floor with no shoes on. And to have our hands on the floor and to connect with other parts of our body. I want you to scan your body and see how it's feeling. Are you feeling any areas of stress? Any areas of tension? Any areas of pain or discomfort? Acknowledge them and accept that this is where you are right now, this evening, today. It may not be how things are tomorrow or how they were yesterday, but we're working with where we're at right now. How are you feeling emotionally? Do you feel stress? Do you feel calm? Is your mind whirring with lots of things that you need to do? Any of those things are fine. Accept that that's where you are now, today. It might not be where you are tomorrow, but for now, be present. I want you to very gently start moving your fingers and toes. And bring yourself back to the present, opening your eyes. And when you're ready, roll over onto your side. And come up to seated into cross-legged position. Take your shoulders down and re-regulate your breathing. I hope you you've enjoyed this evening's class. If you're watching it live, thank you for joining me. If you're watching it on catch up on the app or on YouTube, thank you very much for staying to the end. I hope you have a lovely evening and a nice rest of the week. And I look forward to seeing you all very soon. Take your hands out to the side and either forward into prayer or into a little clap for yourself. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next week.